Now, we're using the word manifest deliberately here because we want you to know that in every moment that you are consciously focused, you have the potential of manifesting the fullness of who you are or not. Your emotions truly are manifestations. Manifestations meaning indications, meaning actualizations, meaning manifestations of who you are. How much of you are you allowing to manifest in this conversation that you're having with someone? And when you're angry or frightened, when you are frustrated, you've pinched off enough of the frequency. In other words, your frequency is different enough from the frequency of who you really are that you've pinched off the connection to some degree, and that's why you feel the diminishment of negative emotion. Negative emotion is diminishment. It's your indicator that you're running on lower fuel than you ordinarily could if you were focused in a way that was allowing more of who you are to be present in this moment. We really want you to feel the relationship between what you're thinking right now and what the source within you is thinking. Because the source within you is the dominant part of you, and you can't get too far away from that frequency without feeling the self-inflicted, self-imposed, self-focused distraction or self-focused resistance to the fullness of who you are. And we know you all live for those moments that you call those highs. You live for those moments. You so want to go to a movie that gives you that lift, or find a lover that gives you that lift, or have a moment that gives you that lift. In fact, every single thing that every one of you wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a material object or a state of being or a moment. Esther was really irritated on the airplane for a moment because she watched almost an entire movie before the plane landed. And right at the end, right at the triumphant end, when everything was going to come into alignment and everything was going to work out just the way she had wanted it to through the whole movie, the little screen went up into the ceiling of the airplane, and Esther said, "No! What's wrong with this picture? I want to get to that good thing." And so we want you to realize that everything that you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. And that's an emotion that you're having. That's an emotional manifestation. So we think it is accurate to say everything that matters to you is because of the emotional manifestation. And if we can convince you that it's the emotional manifestation that you're going after, then you can be self-empowered in this moment to move yourself into that manifestation even before what you would ordinarily think is your justification for the manifestation of positive emotion has occurred. In other words, you think you want to find your dream house, or you think you need to find financial balance, or you think you need to find the perfect mate, or you think you need to find the improved bodily condition, and you think that once you find it, you will feel better. And we don't disagree that good feeling things are good feeling. Duh. Good feeling things feel good. We get that you want good feeling things, but if you are dependent upon something to present itself to you in a way that causes you to feel good, then you are missing the point of deliberate creation, and you are not in control of the relationship between you and you. And that's why we want to point your attention toward what we are calling the manifestation of emotion, because we were visiting with a woman one day. If you've been listening to us for a while, you can move your lips as we tell this story, because we know you've heard it again and again. But it is the most important story that we ever tell relative to anything that matters to you. Woman said, "I'm in pain, my body hurts. How can I think positive thoughts when my body hurts?" She makes a good point, doesn't she? In other words, how you feel, you mostly take your body everywhere you go. So how you feel in your body is a big part of your awareness. My body hurts, Abraham. How can I feel positive emotion when my body hurts? And we said, you have to separate the emotion from what you are calling the manifestation of your body. Now today, if we were speaking to her, we would say, you have to separate the manifestation of emotion from the manifestation of the arthritis in your hip, because the manifestation of emotion is something that you can control right now. You can change it right now. The manifestation of your physical condition will be coming along afterward. But we explained to her that if she is willing to prolong her emotional manifestation of despair, then she's prolonging her manifestation of physical discomfort. We said to her, if you can find the manifestation, we weren't using those words then, the manifestation of hope, the vibrational difference between fear and hope is the difference between recovery or not. It's the difference between recovery. You can't let what is be the reason that you feel the way you feel. You have to decide to feel the way you feel because you intend to feel the way you feel, because you're wise enough to separate the physical reality from the emotional manifestation. And if we can make that point to you, and you can hear it in a way that you are determined to move forward from this day, having control of your emotional manifestation, because you can right here, right now. Now, can you? Can you in the face of something unwanted feel good? That's the question of the day. That is the question of your life. That's the question that points out the difference between deliberate creation and creating by default. And most people that you know are running around creating like crazy by default, because most people are offering 100% of their vibration in response to what they are observing. So if they have the good fortune of observing good things, then they're offering a good feeling vibration and they're keeping it going. If they're observing unwanted things, then they're offering a vibration of resistance. And to the degree that they are offering a vibration of resistance, they are disallowing the alignment. Do you get this? When you walk into a room, you never look for a dark switch. Oh, it's too bright in here. Let me find the switch. Certainly there must be a switch that floods darkness in to cover up the light. You don't do that, do you? You look for a switch that resists the light. But you know that there is not a source of darkness, don't you? Hasn't the physics of your physical time-space reality taught you that? Do any of you look for the dark switch? If you've looked, you have never found it. Inky, misty darkness just comes in and covers up. It's not like that, is it? And the same is true. There is not a source of evil. There's just disallowing what you call good. There's not a source of sickness. There's just pinching off the stream of wellness. That's all it ever is, you see. So when you remember that you are a vibrational being, and you recall or remember that your indication of emotion is your indicator of how much of the stream you're allowing to flow or how much you are resisting it, then you begin to get control of your experience. And if we can convince you that you have the ability to move your emotional set point closer and closer to the set point of your source, then we can convince you that your life can be joyful no matter what is happening in any moment in time. We have not seen any of you go to the new car dealership, pick out the car that you want most, and then say to them, I have some minor modifications. One really. I would like the windshield removed from there, and I would like it put in the floorboard. Just fill that in with more chrome. Because I am really interested in telling it like it is, in knowing what is, in focusing on what is. I want to know exactly where I am at all times. I never look ahead. I never look out there. I look here. I want to look here and only here, only here, only here, only here. I'm just looking here. There I am, there I am, there I am, there I am. And we say, that would not work out very well, would it? Because if you're moving with any speed at all, where you are is really irrelevant and not all that interesting. There it went again, 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 there it went again. You want to look up, and we want you to look up and toward that which you have become. Now, it's important to understand that everything that you've been living, you were source energy before you came into this physical body, and a part of you came into this physical body. A very small, comparatively small part of the consciousness that is the eternal you is here focused within you this red hot minute on the things that matter to you in this life experience. This time-space reality and all that it means to you is a small part of the whole of that which you are. Not just in terms of past, present, and future, but in terms of present. So here you are focused in this physical body, exploring the details of it, and in the exploration, knowing what you don't want, and therefore knowing what you do want, and knowing what you do want, and therefore knowing what you don't want. In other words, all of that is helping you to focus your preferences. Now, most people don't understand how important that is. Like, well, so what? Everybody has an opinion, and we all develop our attitudes of what we would prefer. But we want you to understand that it is infinitely important, because by exploring and knowing what you don't want and what you do want, you are fine-tuning constantly and coming to new preferences all day, every day. In fact, the evolution of all species is about that. Even one-celled organisms are preferring and evolving, you see. So if you can understand that that sorting and sifting process is causing you to come to conclusions, even if you're not speaking them out loud. We know you're talking to your friends, I want that, and now I know I really want that. But it's happening on many more levels than you realize. You are sending off rockets of desire, rockets of preference, really leading edge rockets of newness are moving through you and from you all day, every day. So that vibrational request or intention or desire or hope or dream or goal or whatever you want to call it, at all levels of your being, is shooting out, preceding what you would call the manifestation. In other words, the desire for a new car really came when your car was sputtering when you started it. As they were taking off from Denver, the airplane taxied out like it was going to take off, and then didn't. And then it began turning around, and there was a sort of collective from the passengers on the airplane, wondering what was up. And after a little while of just sitting there and wondering, the pilot said, "The brakes are too hot. We're waiting for them to cool off." And Esther said, "Take off and leave them down. That will cool it off." Fortunately, he could not hear her. Didn't want to tuck those hot brakes up into the airplane. And everyone is in agreement that is appropriate. And so the manifestation, the reality, was evoking a response. When you drive your car and the brakes aren't working, without even realizing it, you're making plans for a more efficient car. When your car uses more gasoline than you want, you're making plans for a more fuel-efficient car. When your neighbor looks at your car with disdain, you're making plans for a more beautiful car. In other words, even if you're not having conversations, you can't live anything without making plans. And we would like to say you're making vibrational plans without even knowing you are. It's part of the consciousness focusing mechanism that is what the leading edge of creation is all about. So as these rockets of desire, whether they're spoken or unspoken, are moving from you, through you, they are being understood, received by the larger part of you that we were talking about earlier. The non-physical part of you receives every one of those requests. Doesn't just receive it as a request, but becomes it in the moment that you launch the rocket. So the reason we're giving this to you, because it would be meaningless to you in the sense that, oh, so I'm asking for something and it hasn't manifested yet, so what? I'll wait till I catch up with it. I'll wait till I catch up with my new car. I'll wait till I have enough money to replace this junk pile that I'm driving around. I'll wait. The manifestation is yet to come. But what we want you to understand is that in the moment that you have dreamed it or hoped it or pulled it from the contrast and sent the vibrational rockets, it has become a vibrational reality that is now part of the mix of your emotion. So now it's part of the mix of your emotion. You have to keep up with the mix of that emotion if you are to stay up with who you are and be all that you be, feel all that you feel.